I'm very pleased again to present our next topic is presentation techniques to enhance your sales and marketing. For those who participated last year in our education session, I believe it's just enough to tell the name, Luc Chenier. For those who came for CONVENE education session for the first time today, I should say a little bit more. Somebody told that he's Canadian. In fact, he's a very international person. Feels like home all over the world, in China, Lithuania, Ukraine, Canada, Russia. He's expert in presentation making. He spent 20 years, he has 20 years experience in creative and strategic activities in many countries of the world. And worked for such a companies like Mazda, Peugeot, Pernod Ricard, Rolex, Kyivstar. So I believe you will enjoy Luc's presentation as soon as he'll be ready. 1 minute.
Good? Sorry guys, this never happens. But of course, you're going to learn in this presentation that this is one of my slides that we're talking mistakes will happen. So, no, that's a titanium CONVENE. I don't need all the stuff, I need just CONVENE, that's all. I just need it open. Okay. Everybody getting hungry? Let's see. We got action. Good. This is the presentation that has about 5 slides that were changed. So there's a couple of good videos that are missing in there, which is a shame, but I understand that we're a little bit behind time and I know everyone wants to eat. So exactly, my name is Luc Chenier. I'm the owner of Titanium, which is a specializing company that does high-end presentations, but I'm not here to sell the company, we're here to learn something today. If you want to meet me, you can see me at the booth and I'll explain all about what the company is like. It's like I always say, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then imagine what a great presentation can make. So what I want to start right now, and I want to get this out, is that if we're taking a look at what is a presentation, many people like taking their files from Word, and they love it because Word is made for reading. It's not made for presenting, but what people make as a major fault is that they take it and they copy paste and put it into their presentation. This is not what it's meant to be. People know how to read. They don't need somebody to tell them what it is. So you have to be presenting in general. So this is what PowerPoint is all about. We're going to use PowerPoint. There's Prezi, there's Keynote. They're all nice tools. There's Ventus. There's different styles. But PowerPoint is the one that most of us know how to use. I take a look at Keynote, which Steve Jobs, of course. Have you ever seen in all the presentations, does anybody ever read one of his slides? It's just one word, he speaks, and everyone controls what it is. The problem is too many people put so much information on their slides that the speaker is there talking and reading about the presentation while nobody's even paying attention to what it is. This is the biggest mistake, and this is the one that we work with some pretty high-level customers that want to be like Steve, as they say. Not everyone can be. So, as I say, we present all the time. Right now I'm presenting to you. Last night I was presenting to people over a glass of wine. When you go on a date, you're presenting. When you're trying to get a sale, when you're going to a taxi, everyone is presenting. We're selling all the time. And there's a really nice movie that I watched maybe 10 years ago called Boiler Room, and Ben Affleck in this movie is trying to tell these young recruits. He tells them, because they're people that are making cold calls and selling as well. He said, a sale is made on every single call. Either you sell them why that they should buy from you, or they're going to sell you why they're not going to buy from you. One way or another, a sale is made every time. So this is, and that kind of resonated with me because this is life. I mean, you're always trying to sell or somebody's trying to sell you. So talking about statistics, this is one slide that I keep putting over and over again because it's great. Speaking to a group, people are more afraid of speaking in public and are less afraid of death. As if you take a look at that, but that's a reality. People are frightened of doing it. How I like to present is I like having a story. I like talking. I'm very relaxed. But as I was telling a person last night, they said, Luc, you've been doing this for a long time. Were you always natural or did you always have fun speaking? And I said, no, I remember when I was 5 years old. And I had to go and say a story in front of 400 people in my class, in my room, in my school. And I needed a little girl to sit beside me. And she had to sit beside me, and I was completely mortified. Everyone was laughing at me. And that hit me for a long time until I started working in advertising, and then I had to go and speak at seminars and that. And then I just changed completely. Went very, very comfortable. There could be 5 people here, 5,000. So motion creates emotion. This is the part. Have you ever seen how people sometimes stand behind a podium? You have to be the presentation. People read their, and then next slide, let's go. And then it's dark and everyone is falling asleep while watching this. It's a great time to catch up on your sleep, but you have to be the presentation. Walk around, create some emotions. Because mystery equals curiosity. First of all, there needs to be mystery that then creates curiosity, that then leads to discovery. You need to create, at the beginning of your PowerPoint or your presentation, a little mystery. You need to create a bit of curiosity. So the impact of your message at the end will be the big aha moment into people, not just always telling them what it is. It's not a monologue, it's a conversation. This is what we're trying to do. So you got to bring back, but if you really want to grab people's attention, there's one simple trick. Right now, everyone is looking at the screen, but if I want people to concentrate on me, you put absolutely nothing on the screen. This is an old trick, but it works fantastic, and it's true, because now everyone is forced to look back on me. It's like I said, you got to avoid the podium. I have to improvise a bit, because right now, the presentation I'm showing now is missing some slides and 2 videos, and the order is a bit strange. And as I'm saying, mistakes will happen, so you shouldn't be embarrassed about it. It's life. It's how things are going to keep moving as long as you understand your message. So as I was just telling you, avoid the podium. I mean, take a look at Mark here. If you take, he's got absolutely nothing, just his controller. Take a look at Steve Jobs, just a controller. I take a look at most of my clients now. There's no podium. Usually I discourage them from doing a podium. So you got to connect to the temperature of the room. This is very important. So motion creates emotion. You're ready, you've done your deck, you've done your PowerPoint, everything is ready to go, you're going to kill it. But then you go, and there's kind of a frosty reception in the room. Or you start off with a joke. We were discussing this last night that almost every presenter now likes to start off with a joke. That's the worst thing you can do. Because imagine if that joke bombs. The rest of your presentation will be not comfortable, not nice, and a whole bit. I say avoid the jokes. People are not there to see a stand-up comedy show. You want to make a funny joke? Fine, but don't do it at the beginning. This is a horrible way to start, unless it's a perfect one, but I highly doubt it. So you got to basically connect to the temperature of the room and adjust. So if you come, there's a cold reception, you got to change your tactics. Remember your subject, remember what it is, but change it quickly and engage them and go hard. Find your allies. Right now, I'm looking at a lot of people. But right now, I see a person who's smiling, nodding. That's my friend. Then I see another person who's laughing over there. She doesn't hate me yet. This is great. And then I see people in the back that are good friends. In general, you got to find your allies, find people and concentrate on them. And this is what I did 15, 20 years ago when I overcame my stage fear, is that I realized, one, it doesn't matter how many people there are, you're talking to 3, 4 people. Number 2, people are not there to see you screw up. They're there to see you succeed, and they're generally interested in what you're talking about. So get over the stage fright and have a conversation with everybody. It's when people are too busy with their scripted version of what they're going to do, guess what happens? mistakes will, the technology will happen automatically. It'll throw you off the curve. Please don't read. I don't know if you can see this. I know a lot of this kind of stuff. People who put the word, remember I told you at the beginning, they copy and paste because all this information is so great and it's so incredible. Yet they start reading, and they're reading, nobody's even listening to the person because everyone's reading. So the concentration has got to be on you as the presenter, because while this person is reading, everyone is reading at the same time, and his voice is monotone, and it's putting everyone to sleep immediately. And the part that I love the most is imagine if I started with slides like this. And I started with my overall thing. I said, today we're going to discuss 7 topics, and we're going to go from topic 1 to topic 8. I never put that because, do you remember the mystery, the curiosity? You don't know where the presentation is going to go, but it's entertaining. When people put the agenda, and they say, agenda 1, let's talk about financials, or let's talk about our mission statement. And the first page of mission statement is this big, and then he goes to a second, and then he goes to a third page. Guess what the crowd does? Please, how can I sneak out of here? Right now, this is going to go on and on and on forever. So keep the mystery alive, but don't read. Like I'm having with you. Have a conversation. Well, maybe I am monologuing a bit, but have a conversation and not a monologue. A monologue is pre-scripted, pre-ready with the little cue cards that are done. I say usually just stick a couple of big words, and if you know your subject, talk to people in general. And this is the best way of doing it, because then you can free flow. You can change the temperature of the room. You can have a bit more fun. You can say a joke that comes out of your head if it's fine. But don't have a monologue. This is what puts people asleep. It's like being talked to. Does it actually work? Can you start that? Yes. Hold on a second. Everybody stop for a second. Can you stop that? Do we have volume on that? Do we have volume? Good. So let's stop for a second. The next thing is, as I say, be honest. Be honest with the people. Don't be plastic. This again, if I keep using Steve or whatever, look at Steve Jobs when he's talking, he's laughing with people and he's having, I would be laughing too if I was selling a couple of 100 million iPhones in 10 seconds and I'd say the bank is fun. But be absolutely honest. And you remember what I was saying, that there's always a sale made on you're presenting all the time. But sometimes being brutally honest and bringing your personal life, like I was saying when I was a kid on the stage, that was a different story. So this is from Mad Men, and it's the show about advertising, most of you know. But Don Draper here goes for a sale. I'd like you to watch it. This is probably the most effective sales that I've seen. Whoops. All right, let's play.
This is Joe Harriman and Lynn Taylor. No Eastmans today, unfortunately. They're all back in the lab.
It's a wonderful facility, but they don't take vacations.
What do they show? Slides of them working?
So, have you figured out a way to work the wheel into it?
We know it's hard because wheels aren't really seen as exciting technology, even though they are the original.
Well, technology is a glittering lure, but there's the rare occasion when the public can be engaged on a level beyond flash, if they have a sentimental bond with the product. My first job, I was in-house at a fur company with this old pro copywriter, Greek, named Teddy. And Teddy told me the most important idea in advertising is new. Creates an itch. You simply put your product in there as a kind of calamine lotion. But he also talked about a deeper bond with the product. Nostalgia. It's delicate, but potent. Sweetheart. Teddy told me that in Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart, far more powerful than memory alone. This device isn't a spaceship. It's a time machine. It goes backwards, forwards. It takes us to a place where we ache to go again. It's not called the wheel. It's called the carousel. It lets us travel the way a child travels. Round and around, and back home again. To a place where we know we are loved.
Good luck at your next meeting.
So you see in general, no slides, one slide, just pictures, raw emotions, family life, blew it away. Trust me, I've been in advertising for a very long time. This always gets to me, especially if you've been watching the television show and you understand that his wife had left him and he was no longer with her. So, and the emotion, he got completely lost into it. So there's nothing wrong with creating raw emotions in order to sell something if it works well with your thing. But there was a strategy here, and they figured out a brilliant strategy of minimalizing the whole issue. Anyways, this is a good example of being completely honest. Don't be afraid to change course. This is the main thing. Sometimes you have to change course at the last second because mistakes will happen. And that's what we were doing today a little bit. And believe it or not, even the great Steve makes mistakes, but he enjoys having fun with this. And that's what you do. That's what a professional does, or a person that's enjoying it. Let's play this video.
At the introduction of the iPhone 4 on Monday, Apple CEO Steve Jobs found himself in an unfamiliar position, dealing with keynote tech problems.
Our networks in here are always unpredictable, so I have no idea what we're going to find. They are slow today.
The presentation of the new phone was dogged with problems, a result of the airwaves crowded with Wi-Fi signals.
You know, you could help me out if you're on Wi-Fi, if you could just get off. I'd appreciate it. We're having a little problem here. I don't know what's wrong with our networks.
When it couldn't get on Wi-Fi, one of the phones tried and failed to connect with AT&T's much criticized 3G network.
Oh. There we go. Yes, I know that. I don't want the cellular data network. Well, geez, I don't like this.
After a few offline demos, the problem was clearer, but not yet fixed.
Now, before I begin number 6, our guys were running around like crazy backstage, as you might imagine. And we figured out why my demo crashed. Because there are 570 Wi-Fi base stations operating in this room. Okay? We can't deal with that. So we have two choices. Either I've got some more demos that are really great that I'd like to show you. So we either turn off all this stuff and see the demos, or we give up and I don't show you the demos. Would you like to see the demos or not? Okay. So here's the deal. Let's turn up the lights in the hall. Several hundred of these are these MiFi things too, by the way. So all you bloggers need to turn off your base stations, turn off your Wi-Fi. Every notebook, I'd like them to put them down on the floor. And all of you look around, I'd like you to police each other. If you want to see the demos, shut all your laptops, turn off all these MiFi base stations, and put them on the floor, please. Come on, look around you.
At one point there was light at the end of the tunnel, but when it came time for the most important demo of all, the problem returned.
This never freezes up, so you guys haven't turned off all your Wi-Fi. Come on, let's get it off, please. Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, except for these guys that aren't turning their Wi-Fi off.
With reporting by Steve Lawson in San Francisco, this is Martin Williams, IDG News Service.
All right. So you see, this was a complete catastrophe. And this man was known for being extremely aggressive inside of his company, but he had to, you could tell the temper, he had to hold it back. But he turned an awful situation, and rather than getting angry and then creating an international uproar, he continued in having fun, basically. Mistakes will happen. Don't worry, it's not the end of the world. It's just a PowerPoint. It's as simple as that. So there's 10 core questions. When mistakes will happen, we had a client not too long ago. I'm not going to say the name, but I'm loving it. Anyways, there was our big M. But we had a very large presentation for them, and it was good. In the end, it went well, but there was a lot of, we brought the presentation, tested, we brought our team to make sure that their computers were working, that everything was working well, but they had their own supplier. And a lot of mistakes were happening because of technology and technical issues that were not checked, that were not done. So number one, what I ask you, this is a top 10 list of basic questions that you need. I send this now to every client before we even start a project to make sure that everything is organized, at least to eliminate the really unnecessary problems that can happen. What size is your screen, and arrange it to fit the screen? That's the first question we always ask, because people will create a PowerPoint 4x3, which is standard. Then they'll show up, and it's going to be a very long screen, like in a movie theater, and then all you have is this little screen in the middle, and it cannot attach to it. This is the basic. Build your presentation according to the dimensions of where you will be using it. Number two, what computer will be used? A Mac or a PC? This is a very big one, especially with the technology equipment, as you probably know. It happens. It has a very big impact. Sometimes Macs are not compatible, or it takes more time to set up, and sometimes it's more PC, especially with the screen, the projector, and all the equipment in general. What platform will you use? That's the first thing that I ask a lot of clients. Where are you going to use it? Well, I'll say, Luc, I need a nice presentation, but I want something cool. But I want to be able to change things at the very last second. I'm sorry, that's not going to be Keynote, that's not going to be Prezi, you're defaulting to PowerPoint. No, but then I want it great and I want it really cool. Okay, then let's try Prezi, or let's go with Keynote if you're open, or some other platforms. Pick your platform, where you're going to use it, and how many changes are you going to make to it, and understand yourself, how are you going to use it in the future. Is this sleep mode on your laptop? This is what happened at our event. It was a supplier's computer. The person, huge, 5 times the size of the screen, 1,000 people in this auditorium, and a person is talking to CEO of this company, and guess what happens? He would start talking, but every 30 seconds, it would go black. And then people would scramble, it would be back on. It went on, and I could just look at the frustration on his face, and I'm like, talking to my demo guy, and I said, what the hell is happening? Because this is a big client. He goes, Luc, it's clear, it's the sleeper mode. It's on the supplier's computer, and they had it on a 30-second mode. Incredible how this ruined the feeling of an event and of a thing. So check your sleep mode, please, and get it off. Are you using the right projector? That's another thing. Everyone says, well, projectors are projectors. Again, the same client ordered one for a theater style. They ordered it, but their supplier decided to, no, I've got something better, and he brought another thing. Guess what? It was all out of focus. And it did not work in that area. It was okay, but it wasn't pristine clear as to what it was. So again, 1,000 people, the client put a lot of money, ruined it, because when you keep tacking on these little things, it's incredible how such stupid little things can ruin an overall great presentation, especially when you're trying to sell something to people. Test your technical equipment, screen, sound, video, everything. Again, video happens often that if the video has not been tested, often it does happen that it just doesn't work, it won't play, or it gives you a big question mark all the time. Test it, and test it. Do you have backups? USB, online, laptops. I'm the kind of person that when the clients are paying us the money that they pay us, I get extremely nervous. So I want at least 5 USBs. I want 3 different Google, Yahoo, whatever. I want it. My team says that I drive them crazy, but a few times I've said, I was right. Now at least we have a backup at the last second. We know where to get. And I always like getting an extra laptop or 2 just in case. Call me a bit crazy, but I would rather be a little bit crazy than be a little bit wrong, be majorly wrong for clients. That's the next question. If you got your backups on Google, do you have online access in the venue where you're going to be? Several times I've seen, no backups, no online. I have it online. Where's the online? We don't have internet. Does anybody have an internet stick? Nobody has it. Panic sets in because they didn't do it. Rehearsals. Several times I've had, I've had clients, the event was starting at 9 o'clock. They would all show up after coffee at 8:30. All right, so where's my part? When do I speak? It was a mess. I mean, it wasn't a mess, but it wasn't nice because everyone was off track. It wasn't smooth. It wasn't well organized. And people were actually contradicting each other on what they were talking about. Know your subject matter. As I was saying, I think we were speaking about this, I don't even need a presentation. I could speak about this for 45 minutes without even a presentation because it's now, but it's my job, it's my life. So, I mean, somebody's good as a mechanic, he can talk about it, you know, so. Less is more. Please, this is the one that I cannot keep pushing to people the most. Some people will overpopulate their slides. I tell people I have no problem, sometimes I skip my own presentation a bit, but I have no problems with somebody having 200 slides in their presentation. As long as there's 1 or 2 words on it, it goes very, very quick and it's a nice conversation. What I detest and what I always tell no is somebody who has 25 slides, but there's a million things on each slide. Nobody can comprehend, and I'll explain why. And filling up your entire page this big, here's the laser pointer, it goes here, it goes to there, and we're going. Laser pointers are only good for cats, and that's the reality, and they're fun. So I always tell myself that if anybody needs a laser pointer in their presentation, it's already too busy and it's already way too complicated. So I'm going to make a little test with everybody, and I really need people to participate in this, okay? How many dots? Okay, that was about 4 or 5 seconds. Now, there we go. Do you see how the rate increased faster and faster? The reason is that the perceptive limit of a human being is 6 objects at a time, that they can absorb it very, very quickly in one shot. Because what happens is if you got 6 or more, as I'm saying here, you got an 800% increase of time to understand it. It destroys. That's why people put so much stuff on each slide. Guess what? 90% is forgotten after 30 seconds. Keep it short. I say keep it even under 6. Okay? Too many slides, as I was telling you, so I kind of skipped ahead. The too many slides, I have no problems with that. But keep it brief and keep having a conversation. Fonts, please, please. Fonts and colors. Don't go all fancy, messy fonts, distracting fonts. This is, I love people, especially when I get pinks and blues and everything in their stuff. It's tacky, it's out of fashion, it's distracting. The fonts, I mean, take a look at all the different fonts. Actually, I had much worse fonts. It just defaulted basically on that. But anyways. Oh yeah. So animation. So getting back to fonts for 1 second, I would suggest using fonts such as Helvetica, Futura, Arial. And there's another one, but keep them straight, keep them solid, and that's the best way. But the animation, that's another thing that I detest. Everybody thinks that they're being cool. You know, with the little star clusters and everything. This is not a Disney animation studio. This is a serious conversation. If you want to entertain children, please go ahead and have fun with that if you're doing a children's animation. But keep the animation, I would say, keep it only to appear or slide in or slide out, but only for a real purpose. Don't do it just because, okay, my PowerPoint's kind of boring, my subject's weak, now I need to spice it up with colors and I need to put all these cool animations and jumping around, and guess what? It's distracting, nobody's going to pay attention, and it makes you look cheap. Let's see it. Fonts, as I was saying, so it looks like one of my slides again happened. You remember when I was saying at the beginning about working in Word? Word is made for reading. Times font is New Roman, is perfect for reading because it's very easy on the eyes. It shows definition. When it's square letters in a book, it's very hard to read the whole thing. But when it's with this, it's a little bit more appeasing. This is made for reading. And the fonts, as I was saying, You need something more straight. So calibri, sorry, this is another one. So those are my 4 choices that I use quite often. You can bold them, you can use different things, but this is what happens. So let's go now to the top 10 tips, and then I'm going to let everyone go and get your food. Okay, sounds good? Because I know we were running out of time. So tip number 1, create mystery and ignite curiosity. This is the number 1 thing. Don't put the outline of what you're going to speak about. You can talk about, today we're going to talk about a revolutionary new product that is going to excite everybody. What is it? And then you continue. This is the right way of doing it. Putting bullet points of what you're going to talk about is not creating mystery. It's telling people this is going to be long and painful. Number 2, motion creates emotion. You're not a stick. You're not a scarecrow. Get out from behind the podium. Walk around. Have a little fun. Don't be afraid to make fun of yourself, and just move it around a bit. Body language is what I'm saying. It speaks volumes. Express yourself generally and honestly. People react more to a great conversation with people when they see the person truly believes in the subject, and you can tell that it's not, I am a robot, this is what we will speak. Today, let's go to exhibit. Interact with your audience. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who likes running around the audience and, doing things, but in general, interact with the audience. Wake them up. Have some fun with them. This is always needed. Avoid the podium, as I was saying. This is, please, no podiums. Make sure all you have is a little table there, and that's it. Never read, like I just did. Don't do that. So never read. Yeah, just don't read. It's just not a good thing. This is the old thing I used to tell to my copywriters when I was a creative director in some other countries. I said, they would always bring me these great taglines and everything. I said, guys, don't say in 7 what you can say in 2. It's kind of like Twitter. Use the Twitter hashtag attitude of 140 characters. Edit yourself, edit yourself. The more shorter you make it, the more impactful it is. The more impactful it is, the more you can just put that and then you speak yourself. But if you're putting too much to read, if you're putting way too many, guess what happens? People don't pay attention to me anymore. They're listening, but they're actually reading at the same time. People are not multitaskers at the same time, reading and paying attention and showing. Mistakes will happen. Tons. It's unavoidable. If you have a perfect PowerPoint and then everything went great, probably it was a very boring PowerPoint, is what I say. So the mistakes are a part of life, and it's great. Do the checklist. Please do this basic checklist that I had shown you earlier. It will save you money, time, embarrassment, and nerves in general. Have some fun. It's as simple as that. Have fun. If you're not having fun, you're looking boring, you're not interacting with the audience. The audience doesn't see you at the same time. There has to be a rapport. People have got to feel it. The more they feel that you're having fun and you love your subject and you know your subject, guess what happens? People tend to believe people who are actually a bit more positive and are having fun. Now it's not a sales pitch. It's, wow, there's just something about this guy or this girl. And that's it, people. So this is very basic, I understand, but at the same time, a lot of people would say, I've seen this, I know this, but the reality of that is most of us never do them. We make the same mistakes over and over, just like the 9-ball, 7-ball, 6-ball test. This is probably the biggest one. So thank you very much, and I'm hungry.
Look, if you don't mind, I will ask the audience if there are any questions.
See, now that's a great presentation right there. No questions
Simple
at all.
as that.
If anybody of you want to see what we do, and then to see more, I say showing is better than talking about it. You're welcome to meet me at the booth, and we'll be more than glad to explain, and maybe we can do some work together. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Luc.
Hachu.